What if this moment you're calling the end is actually the moment your real life begins? Most people think starting over means going backward. They think it means they failed, lost time, proved their doubts right. But that belief is exactly why they stay stuck, because they're misreading the signal. This isn't punishment. This isn't proof you're weak. This is life clearing the path, forcing an upgrade. And if you respond the right way, you won't just begin again, you'll rise stronger than you've ever been before. Most people misunderstand endings. They hear the word and their body tightens. An ending feels like rejection, like a verdict, like life standing in front of them with a gavel saying you're done. And because of that, they resist endings at all costs. They cling, they negotiate. They tell themselves stories to avoid facing what's already happened. But listen to me closely, because this is where power comes back into your hands. An ending is never a sentence, it's a signal. Life doesn't end chapters randomly. It doesn't rip things away to be cruel. It does it when what you're holding on to can no longer hold who you're becoming. But instead of asking, what is this trying to make me into? Most people ask, why is this happening to me? And that one question alone is the difference between growth and suffering. Think about it. Every breakthrough you admired in another person came after something ended. The job that pushed them to start their own business. The relationship that forced them to finally value themselves. The failure that burned away their excuses. But when it happens to you, it suddenly feels personal. It feels unfair. It feels like proof that you're behind, broken, or somehow lacking. That interpretation is what drains your energy, not the ending itself. Here's the truth most people never stop long enough to face. If something has ended, it means it has already done its job. It taught you what it could teach you. It shaped you as far as it was meant to shape you. And now, staying attached to it would only keep you smaller than you're capable of being. Life is not taking something away from you. It's making room. But room feels terrifying when you're not used to standing in open space. When there's no familiar structure, no clear identity, no guarantee. That's why people rush to fill the void. They jump into the next thing too quickly. They recreate the same patterns with different faces. They call it moving on, but it's really running. And then they wonder why the same pain keeps showing up in different forms. What if, instead of resisting the ending, you listened to it? What if you treated it like a message instead of a punishment? Because every ending is asking a question of you. It's asking, are you willing to let go of who you were so you can step into who you need to become? And most people, if they're honest, answer no. Not out loud, but through their behavior. They keep defining themselves by what they lost. They keep replaying the story. They keep saying, if only this hadn't happened. And in doing that, they stay loyal to a version of themselves that no longer exists. You cannot begin again while gripping the past with both hands. Something has to open. Something has to release. Now here's the shift that changes everything. The pain of an ending is not telling you you're weak. It's telling you that you cared, that you invested, that you grew attached. That's not a flaw. That's evidence of your capacity. But capacity without direction turns into suffering. Capacity with meaning turns into power. So instead of asking, why did this end? Ask, what is this ending preparing me for? Instead of saying, I lost, say, I completed a chapter. Because when you change the meaning, you change your state. And when you change your state, you change what you're capable of doing next. You see, life will keep delivering the same lesson in different packaging until you learn how to read the signal. Endings come to refine you, to strip away what's false, to break the illusion that comfort equals growth. They come when your standards are ready to rise, whether you realize it or not. And yes, it hurts. Of course it does. Growth always does. But pain is not the enemy here. Misinterpretation is. The moment you decide that this ending is not here to break you, but to build you, something inside you shifts. Your posture changes. Your breath deepens. Your mind stops spiraling and starts focusing. Because now you're no longer a victim of circumstances. You're a participant in evolution. And once you truly get this, once it lands not just in your head, but in your nervous system, you stop fearing endings altogether. You stop clinging to what's familiar just because it's familiar. You start trusting that whatever is leaving is creating space for something that matches the person you're becoming now, not the person you were then. This is the moment where strength is born, not the loud kind, not the performative kind, the quiet, grounded strength that comes from knowing that nothing real is ever lost, only outgrown. So stand in this ending, don't rush past it, don't numb it, read it, let it tell you what it's here to tell you. Because the faster you stop calling this the end, the faster you step into what it's really been all along. The beginning of your rise, there is a moment, often quiet, often invisible to everyone else, when everything actually changes. Not when the circumstances improve, not when the fear disappears, not when you finally feel confident or ready. Everything changes in the moment you decide, and most people never realize this, which is why they spend years waiting for permission from life that will never come. They think power is something you earn later, after the plan is perfect, after the timing is right, after they've healed a little more, learned a little more, become a little more, but decision doesn't come after clarity. Clarity comes after decision. That's the order, always has been. Look at how most people live. They negotiate with themselves every day. I'll start when I feel motivated. I'll speak up when I'm more confident. I'll change when the fear goes away. And so they stay stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they keep postponing commitment. They confuse thinking with deciding. They confuse wanting with choosing, and the body knows the difference. A real decision is not a preference. It's not a hope. It's not a wish disguised as intention. A real decision is a line you draw in the sand where there is no plan B that allows you to return to the old life. The moment you decide at that level, your nervous system organizes itself around that choice. Your focus sharpens, your energy changes, your standards rise, and suddenly you start seeing options that were invisible before. This is why two people can face the same situation and walk away with completely different lives. One waits, the other decides. One asks, what if it doesn't work? The other says, this ends now. And life responds accordingly. You don't need certainty to decide. You don't need confidence to decide. You don't even need belief in yourself to decide. What you need is a threshold, something inside you that says, I will not live like this anymore. That's it. That's the birthplace of power. Not inspiration, not motivation, decision, because decision cuts through chaos. It stops the mental spinning. It silences the inner debate. When you truly decide, the question is no longer if you'll move forward, but how. And the how always reveals itself once the if is settled. Most people never experience their own strength because they keep one foot in the past and one foot in the future. They tell themselves they're exploring options. But what they're really doing is protecting their comfort. They want change without consequence, growth without discomfort, a new life without letting the old one die. But life doesn't respond to half commitment. Here's something most people don't want to hear but desperately need to. Indecision is a decision. Every day you don't choose, you are choosing to stay the same. Every time you delay, you reinforce the identity of someone who waits. And identity is powerful. It shapes your behavior, your expectations, your results. The good news is this works in your favor the moment you flip it. The moment you decide, this is who I am now, this is what I stand for, this is what I will no longer tolerate, you start becoming that person immediately before any evidence shows up. Action follows identity, not the other way around. And yes, fear will still be there. Fear doesn't disappear when you decide. It gets quieter when it realizes it's no longer in charge. Fear's job is to keep you safe, not fulfilled. If you wait for fear to approve your future, you'll live a very small life. But when you decide despite fear, you teach your nervous system a new rule: growth is safe. That's how confidence is built. Not through thinking positive thoughts, but through proving to yourself that you do what you say you'll do.